Now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. You can give me a call tonight, 412-575-2600. I'll be joined by Ron Cook in just moments. He's sitting right next to me. We're getting ready to talk about the Penguins. A tough loss for the Penguins. They have lost 7 of their last 8 games. 1, they got a point, but they've lost 7 of their last 8. And if you can believe it, they are in last place in the Eastern Conference. When I looked it up, 17 points. They're tied with Ottawa. I couldn't even believe it with my own eyes because, you know, right now you're paying attention to the Steelers and you're looking and glancing. But when you lose 7 out of 8, well, get 3 points in 8 games. You're not doing too well.
They've lost more than they won. They're 7-7-3 now, Rich. And like you said, 7 out of 8. It's hard to believe this is the same team that went to Toronto and won, 3-0 in a shutout, then went to Western Canada and just dominated. And ever since then, they've lost 7 out of 8. It's hard to explain. Not having Crosby tonight didn't help them, obviously, but couldn't stay out of the penalty box. I don't know if it's been a long time since I've seen a team take 3 different minor penalties in a 10-second span. And that's what happened at the end of the first period. Tampa has a dynamite power play. They end up scoring 5-on-3 real late, 2.7 seconds left in the first period. Right away again a 5-on-3 to start the second period, then a 5-on-4, and then they end up getting the game winner on a power play goal. Penalty kill just not there for the Penguins tonight. Hard to blame them on the 5-on-3s. But and the goaltending, I didn't think Murray was tremendous by any stretch. Certainly I don't blame him for a couple of those 5-on-3s, but it's okay to make a big save once in a while, and I didn't see many from him tonight.
Well, 3 goals in a span of 91 seconds. Braden Point, all 3 of them, the natural hat trick for him, and that really turned this game around. Special teams were not special for the Penguins tonight, and it's another tough loss. And, you know, Ron, it's hard to explain, and that's a great quote, you know. I mean, what else can you say? But could you put your finger on what's wrong with this team right now? I mean, we've talked about maybe disinterest a little while ago, but it's beyond that now because
you know, first of all, disagree with a little bit. Their special teams, they did score 2 power plays
they did
tonight.
Yeah,
the Penguins' power play was pretty good. Hornquist had a great deflection of a Kessel shot, and then I think it was Malkin that set up Kessel for a wrist shot. So they had 2 power play goals too, but it doesn't do you any good when the other team gets 4. Disinterest maybe, but I think that should have ended yesterday when their good buddy Carl Hagelin was traded. I was told the whole locker room was just crushed by that because, you know, they love the guy and a great teammate. But I think Jim Rutherford wanted to send a message, you know, I'm not putting up for this with this stuff. You better play better or there'll be more moves, and I think there might be more moves. I'm not saying you panic after 17 games. My math, I believe you still have 65 left to play. And maybe if everything goes well in March and April, we won't be worrying about these games. But I think they have problems right now. I don't think they're not as good as they've been. If the top guys aren't scoring, they're getting nothing.
And they can't get any help from Matt Murray either. I'm not going to blame him because you had a lot of odd man.
5-on-3
man advantage and a 5-on-3. You take that away, but this guy needs to make a big save at some point. He did early in the first, and I thought he was going to be on tonight, but now he falls to, 4-5-1 on the season, and that's not what you need from an elite goalie like Matt Murray, what he's supposed to be. Do you think there's an issue that no one's pushing this guy right now, and you know, he's not looking over his shoulder? Maybe that was a good thing for Matt Murray before.
Maybe he should start. Casey DeSmith's been pretty good. Maybe he'll get more work. I don't know. Another trend that you don't like, this is another loss at home. How many of those have they had already? I know they played well against Arizona on Saturday night, and that was DeSmith getting the shutout, but they've lost games at home. They've been better on the road than they have been at home. They're not a very good team right now, whether they're disinterested, whether they're lacking speed. The defense isn't what it has been in the past. I look for somebody else to go. And, you know, if you had to guess, you know, Sprong's the easy guess. Ollie Mata maybe? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think your colleague, Joe Starkey, asked him the question tonight about why isn't Daniel Sprong playing.
He got defensive.
He did get pretty
defensive. He's been playing, but
yeah.
But he's been playing when he gets 3, 4, 5 minutes. That's not really planned.
And on one of the bottom two lines, too. And that's not going to help to see what this kid can do. Yeah, there's no question there's going to be some kind of move right now. You know, I don't want it to be a reactionary move, though, you know, and lose out on a trade this time of the year.
I don't think they're going to do that. But, you know, they seem to like this Tanner Pearson, that he can help them. I mean, he was okay tonight. I didn't pay a lot of attention to him, but I liked Hagelin. I thought Hagelin was a big game player, and I thought he helped them with their speed on the forecheck, on the penalty kill. But he had 1 goal playing on the top line with Malkin. That's not good enough. It just isn't.
Yeah, and Tanner Pearson, he doesn't have good numbers coming into that trade into the Penguins. Only, what, 1 assist coming
-9. But he has scored 16, last year, 24 a couple years ago. He has scored when he's played with good people.
40-plus points the last 2 years. So, yes, he has, and you know, maybe this is a change of scenery, and that's what he said in the locker room this morning. Tonight he played 14 minutes on that second line with Malkin and Hornquist, so we'll see how much more ice time he gets beyond that. He didn't have any shots on goal and no points, but was a +1 today. All right, we got to take a break. Back with some of your phone calls, 412-575-2600, coming up in about 2 minutes.